Hello, friends. Welcome back to Social Studies. Today is August 27th, 2020. I wanted to quickly clarify on a small little technical that happened in my last video. So in my last video, when I was presenting you guys your On This Day in History and your We Will, I Will, and your important messages, it didn't give you the August 26th slide for some reason. I saw this August 26th slide, but it was not showing you the August 26th slide in the video. So hopefully you guys are able to see the August 27th slide. If not, I will see it when I finish up this video. However, I will work on that if I need to. But if you do not currently see the August 27th slide, do not freak out on me. We're all good. I will make the necessary adjustments and figure out a little bit more on why that's not working for us. You guys already know technology's being funky for us. Even though you think we would have it by now, we still get a whole other thing happening to us. So do not worry. Just listen to the things that I have to tell you, and that is all that matters. All right, my friends. So let's get started. On this day, August 27th, the most powerful volcanic eruption happened in history, occurred on an island in Indonesia named Krakatau in 1883. Unfortunately, it killed 36,000 people. That is how powerful it was. Just imagine that. Now, I know that some of our On This Day in Histories are going to be exciting and interesting, but some of them are going to be gloomy and interesting. So I promise we won't always have ones that are this gloomy. But it is pretty crazy that in some places of the world, there are volcanoes that erupt and have unfortunate instances like this. So be thankful that we do not have any volcanoes in Texas. With that being said, I do not have any important messages for you guys except to just keep being awesome, keep being patient with your technology. You guys are doing great. You're getting on and you're doing your assignments. For those of you who are not doing your assignments but getting on, we see you. Just a fair warning, we see you. So now let's move on to our We Will and I Will objectives for today. So today, we will discuss the age of discovery and practice our vocabulary for week 1. I will complete the assigned tests in social studies weekly over week 1, the age of discovery. Yes, I just realized that I have 2 different typos in my We Will and I Will objectives. So don't get mad at me. I am human. We make mistakes. It's all good, okay? I know how to spell weekly, I promise. All right, so my sweet friends, we are going to talk about the articles that we have been reading this past week. Hopefully you guys have been reading along with me and listening to me read it to you. And hopefully you guys have been writing down your vocabulary and looking at your vocabulary. I hope so. If not, that's on you. It is your responsibility, and, well, it's going to show on your test. So please make sure you are doing what you need to be doing, my friends. Thank you. That's my small tidbit of being serious, Ms. Gonzalez. All right. So with that being said, I am going to start off your summary really quickly of your week 1. So I am going to read my social studies weekly. So if you would please have yours out, I would greatly appreciate it so that I know that you can follow along with me. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to summarize. We're going to talk about just a little bit of everything, which is what summary is. We're going to take all of that information and put it into one big old easy thing for you, just to remember before you take your assessment. So let's get started. I am starting on our first page in the New World. So the New World is the New World. It started off in 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That is that helpful saying that you guys can have for remembering. So Christopher, it's a little bit of a, but we'll get it. So Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. He was an Italian explorer who was exploring for Spain. Okay, so he went to the king and queen and he asked for their sponsorship for support for his journey. He wanted to go to Asia and find a faster trade route. Okay, so he was thinking ahead of the game. He was just thinking, this is taking a while for all of our goods and all of our supplies to get here and all of our goods to get back. So let's see if I can find another trade route. Okay, so he went to the king and queen and told them this. They thought it was a great idea. However, they were kind of skeptical and didn't really think that he was gonna make it back. They thought, oh, okay, we'll sponsor you to go there. And if you make it back, great, that's awesome. But we're not gonna get our hopes up. Okay, so they were a little skeptical on him actually making it back. Now, Columbus did make it somewhere. He didn't make it to Asia. He made it to North America, which is in the Western Hemisphere. And it's just crazy how he happened upon it. He thought he was going to a whole different place, and he ended up in North America, and he ended up finding gold, God, and glory. And that's the three things that I want you to remember. Those are the three G's I want you to remember, okay, is glory, God, and gold, because that is what every explorer who was coming to the New World was looking for, was glory, God, and gold, okay? Because if you remember, he brought back to the king and queen of Spain all the riches. So they had all the gold, and when he was there, he tried to convert the people who were already living in North America to Christianity. So there's his God, and then glory. He found a whole new place. He's like the most famous person ever, okay? So he's going to have all this fame when he goes back to Spain. So he had glory, God, and gold. Okay, so Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492 for glory, God, and gold. That is going to be the easiest way for you guys to remember all that good stuff about Christopher Columbus. Now, Christopher Columbus went back to Spain, and he told the king and queen. He brought back the riches. He brought back all the goods. He brought back some of the people that lived there. He captured some of the people and brought them back to Spain to show them that it's inhabited by people, meaning people live there. And after the news broke out that Columbus found a new place, all these other countries are like, hey, we want some of that glory, God, and gold. We want some of that. And so they start sending off explorers to go and find this land that Columbus had discovered. So we move on to the next page of our Social Studies Weekly. And now we're getting into all the rest of the explorers that have come and gone. So first we had Christopher Columbus. He was an Italian explorer who was exploring for Spain, okay? Then we had John Cabot. So John Cabot was exploring for England. Okay, and then we have Hernan Cortez, who was exploring for Spain. And then we had Juan Ponce de Leon, who was also exploring for Spain. So Spain had all these explorers sent out. England only had one, and then France started to trickle behind. So let's start with John Cabot, because he was the most recent one after Christopher Columbus. So he was given permission to explore this unknown land for England. And John Cabot, he kind of was successful, but he was going north of where Columbus was. Okay, so Columbus was here in North America, but Cabot went a little farther north. So he ended up in Canada. He discovered what is now known as Canada. However, when he was sailing back to England to tell them the good news, his ship sank, and he did not get to tell them what he actually discovered. So then we move a little bit forward to our Spaniard explorer. So first we have Hernan Cortez. So Hernan Cortez was all about the gold and silver, all about the gold and silver. He did not want anything else, just gold and silver. That's it. He was all about the money. Okay, he was all about the money to the point where he came and he conquered the Aztec people, who were the people who were inhabiting the land that he had come upon. And they had lived there since 1521. That's a long time, okay? And so Cortez had gone to present-day Mexico, so that's where the Aztecs were. He conquered the Aztecs and took what they had. So while Cortez was in present what we now consider Mexico, we have Juan Ponce de Leon, who was sailing out of Puerto Rico, and he was trying to find the fountain of youth. Okay, he was all about making sure he was going to stay young and beautiful. Now, that's not what happened, of course. A big dreaming, but that's not what happened. He ended up in present-day Florida. And when he found Florida, he was so overwhelmed with the beauty of Florida because he happened upon it during a festival. It was a feast of flowers, or what they call Pascua Florida, that he decided to claim this land for Spain and name it Florida. Now, while Ponce de Leon was discovering Florida, you got to remember that Spain had been trying multiple times already in the background. In the background, they had tried multiple times to get into Florida, and so did France. So now France is feeling a little left behind because everyone's discovering all these beautiful unknown lands, and they don't got nothing yet. They ain't got nothing, okay? So they send out Jacques Cartier to find a shortcut to all these places. And he discovered Newfoundland in Canada. And so he claimed that land for France. However, that land did not last. It did not work. All those settlements failed, unfortunately. And France wasn't able to put down a permanent settlement until like 60 years later, when North America was like getting all of its puzzle pieces put together. Okay. And so around 1564, Spain and France were just at each other's throats because Spain was getting more explorers out there and France was failing so much. And so this is when France decided to send Pedro Menendez de Avalos to Florida to establish a base to attack the French. Oh my Lord, I said that wrong. Oh, I got ahead of myself. I got to slow down a little bit. I was getting excited. So let me start again. So France and Spain were at each other's throats, right? And Spain and France were both trying to inhabit places in Florida, okay? Spain was having some luck, but they didn't want France to come in on it. So Spain sent Pedro Menendez de Avalos. Spain sent him to set a base up to attack the French when they would come into Florida. So they organized a territory. De Avalos organized a territory, and that territory became the new colony of St. Augustine. So this is how St. Augustine was brought up. So this colony was basically just a battleground. And as they guarded the territory, De Avalos and his group continued to explore and claim land for their country because Spain wanted to continue to find gold and riches. The men were there also to protect the land from other countries. So not just France, but anybody else who wants to step foot in Florida is going to have to deal with Spain. So with that being said, since St. Augustine was just a battleground of built-up fortress, it became the oldest permanently settled city in the United States. It is a historic city and is a reminder of the European colonization in the New World. All right. So I touched base on a little bit of everything for you guys. And now I kind of just want to go over the vocabulary a little bit with you. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see the vocabulary really quickly. Here we go. All right. So this is just a list of your vocabulary words that we have talked about this week. I want to go over them really quickly with you guys. So we talked about explorer. So Christopher Columbus was an explorer. Hernan Cortez was an explorer. De Leon was an explorer. De Aviles was an explorer. John Cabot. They were all explorers because they went to travel into other areas to gain geographical and scientific information. And then the New World. So the New World, if you guys remember, is on the Western Hemisphere. That is the west side of the world. And that is what North and South America are. Now we have our Age of Discovery. So the Age of Discovery is a period of time where the Europeans explored and mapped the world. So we started off with the New World. We found the New World. Everybody figured out that there was something else there more than what they had at home. So then that busted open the huge Age of Discovery. With that, you had many explorers coming to the New World and discovering all of its beauty and wanting to express their religion to everyone who was already inhabiting. So Christianity was the religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ, and they were wanting to share that with everybody. Then we have our colony. So a colony is a group of people who settled far from home and maintained ties with their home country. So St. Augustine was a colony that was colonized by de Aviles. Okay, so colonize was to establish a colony, and colony is the group of people who settle. So the colony is St. Augustine, and it was colonized by de Aviles, the explorer. Now we have cartographer. Cartographer is a map maker. It's someone who makes maps and maps out the whole world. We wouldn't have our maps if we didn't have a cartographer. We have John Cabot. He is an Italian explorer sponsored by England who explored Canada. But remember, he was not able to make it back home to England because of his shipwreck. Then we have Hernan Cortez, who was a Spanish explorer who conquered the Aztecs. Ponce de Leon, he is a Spanish explorer who searched for the Fountain of Youth and discovered Florida. Then we have Jacques Cartier, who is a French explorer who discovered Newfoundland. Pedro Menendez de Aviles is the St. Augustine founder. St. Augustine is the oldest permanently settled city in the United States. Henry Hudson, he claimed land for Holland. Now, if you guys wanted to read the little bottom feature under the middle pages of 2 and 3, it talks about Henry Hudson claiming land for Holland. Then we have Aztecs. So the Aztecs are the people who were in present-day Mexico, and they got conquered by Hernan Cortez. Conquer means to defeat in combat. So I kind of briefly talked about the vocabulary with you guys. We summarized. Now it is your turn to show me that you guys know what I gave you and you retained it and you know. So you guys are going to be going into Social Studies Weekly. So you're going to go through Clever and then you're going to get into Social Studies Weekly, and you guys are going to take the assessment that I have for you for week 1. Okay, I promise you guys it is not that hard. Okay, that's why I hope that you guys are actually watching these videos, because these videos are going to be helpful for you to remember all that I am telling you and that you're reading to be able to take this assessment and pass it like nothing. Okay, so I kind of wanted to touch base on just a few things though, okay, just to kind of make sure that they're back there in the back of your mind. So we talked about the fact that we started with Columbus, and we talked about the king and queen and how they didn't really believe in him. They thought he had this much of a chance to return. Okay, but they were surprised, right? And so when he went off and was traveling, he was looking for that faster trade route. And so he came back and he shocked the king and queen, because they were like, whoa, we thought you had this much of a chance with actually coming back. And he came back with more than just a faster trade route. Even though he was going to Asia for a faster trade route, he came back with glory, God, and gold. Whew. So the effect that happened after Columbus's success on his first voyage to the New World was the fact that all these other European countries were like, hey, we need to get in on that. We need some glory, God, and gold right now. So they sent out all their explorers. We had Spain, and we had a little bit of France, and we had a little bit of England send out their explorers. So, whew, goodness, I'm getting so excited about social studies. Okay, so I know you guys are going to be answering questions about the social studies weeklies. Okay, so it's going to have questions in there where you need to look back and refer to it. Okay, so just do your best. I know you guys can do it. Make sure that you look at everything on those little newspapers. Make sure you look at the map. Make sure you look at the subtitles and the titles. The subtitles and the titles are your best friends. It's going to be able to help you pinpoint any help that you guys are going to need. Okay. And I just hope that you guys are listening, and I hope that I'm making it a little bit fun for you guys. I know that it'll be much more fun when you guys are inside the classroom, I promise.
Teachers, if you have any.
All right, guys, I will see you later.
In the teacher's lounge,